Oh, I do apologise, guys. We had a few technical difficulties getting race number 3 restarted, so this is going to be probably a restart come the end of a decent evening's race. As I say, I do apologise for the slight delay. It has cost us a bit of time, so... So we should get underway very shortly. As I say, I do apologise for the technical difficulties for getting race 3. It's for some reason, just as we're about to start the penultimate lap, we had a bit of technical issues. So, you know, it is one of them. Potentially it should be okay, so I hope you can see me on stream, well, hear me on stream, not see me, and we'll get race number 3 underway very shortly once we've got everyone here. So it is going to be very close. So we shall see exactly what happens. So just having a bit of an extra practice sesh, and then we shall be underway very shortly. So yeah, I do apologise, guys. So we're going to be getting ready now to start the final race of the evening. As I say, I do apologise that, you know, it is going to be a bit of a slight delay, and it is going to be hopefully an enthralling battle ready for the final race of the evening. And it will be very interesting. We're going to obviously go from positions as we started towards the penultimate lap. so it will be very much interesting to see exactly what happened. So we are going to get 5 lights on the starting gantry, about to turn to green in a couple of moments. The revs are building and we are good to go for the final race of the evening. It has been restarted after a bit of a technical hitch, but never mind. Lee Fitzy leads them into turn number 1, followed by Adam Morgan. They have a bit of a clash, but it wasn't much of a clash. But God Give John gets his way up into slightly second, and followed by Timmy also tucks in behind Adam Morgan, trying to get past Adam potentially for his title nemesis. God Give John potentially trying to put on a considerable amount of pressure as Timmy tries to get past Adam Morgan there, going into towards the Waycross hairpin as Adam tries to also get past God Give John. Timmy has a 5/10 penalty for potentially knocking into Adam Morgan there, but it was probably not meant to be. Dean Atkinson 5th, followed by Brian Ross, followed by Ismail Nemri, and of course Dan Cope at the rear of the field. But at the moment, Lee Fitzy leads the race, going into towards Dunlop for the first time. God Give John now has that advantage from potentially Timmy, and of course Dean Atkinson with Brian Ross also behind Ismail Nemri with a bit of a, I think he had a bit of an issue there. 7th place, Dan Cope in 8th. Looks like Timmy's had a bit of an issue there, potentially now dropped down into 7th. Potentially, I think he was trying to, looks like he has got a bit of an issue. He's all over the place there, potentially, which is now lost place to Dan Cope. So Timmy at the rear of the field, potentially trying to push on Ismail Nemri now. It looks like Timmy unfortunately has disappeared, so Timmy's championship rival God Give John will get maximum points in this race, with Adam Morgan still in 3rd. Lee Fitzy still leading the race from God Give John at the moment, potentially with Panos and of course Ismail and Brian Ross potentially having a battle behind it. It's looking likely that Ismail's trying to make a move on Brian Ross. Potentially going to be very much interesting to see exactly what happens going into the latter part of the stages. But potentially Dean Atkinson still in 4th at the moment from Adam Morgan, potentially in 3rd. It's looking likely Lee Fitzy's trying to gain away from God Give John. It's looking likely Brian Ross and Ismail Nemri are potentially going to have this battle as we get underway very quickly, going towards Dunlop, and it is going to be pretty much tight and twisty. Dan Cope at the moment in 7th, obviously had a bit of drama earlier on. He's obviously missed 2 races, misfortunes in his Cayman this evening, but it's looking likely Lee Fitzy trying to escape from Panos into Panasonic and potentially going down the front straight now, with God Give John potentially pushing on Adam Morgan, trying to do exactly the same, and Dean Atkinson as well. But Ismail Nemri has taken his penalty, so he's obviously going to drop back from Brian Ross potentially for 6th place at the moment, and obviously Dan Cope in 7th. Lee Fitzy trying to eke out that advantage from God Give John. Potentially God Give John also trying to gain onto the back of Lee Fitzy. It's looking likely that Panos is trying to get away from Adam Morgan as well, so the pink Porsche Cayman in the rear of that picture there, potentially trying to push on and potentially get up into 2nd place. Dean Atkinson now 4th from Brian Ross, and obviously Ismail Nemri potentially having a bit of a battle. And we do have Dan Cope 7th, so Lee Fitzy under threat from God Give John potentially for 1st place at the moment, and it's potentially going to be very much interesting as we get quite some time within a bit of battles there, but obviously it's going to be very interchanging for the race lead potentially if Lee Fitzy doesn't have the mirrors full of a yellow and blue machine, potentially going into next corner into leading up to Panasonic potentially pushing on. Potentially Lee Fitzey wants a victory this evening. God Gift John there in second, and you've also got Adam Morgan in third place at the moment, potentially pushing on. Dean Atkinson fourth from Brian Ross and Ismail Memory, and of course Dan Cope struggling at the moment round here at the moment. Potentially Lee Fitzey has to try and push away from God Gift John, potentially try and get exactly. So it is going to be very close. We've got 4 laps, maybe 3 laps to go. It's going to be very interesting. God Gift John there has Lee Fitzey in his sights, but Adam Morgan also has the lines potentially to cause an massive upset here. Panos is, they both took the marker post going out of that Coca-Cola turn. Lee Fitzey heading into 300R with potentially God Gift John on his back bumper going into the Waycross hairpin. Is God Gift John trying to make the move? Potentially you've got Adam Morgan in third, followed by Dean Atkinson as well, but it is looking likely Ismail Memory's dropped back a bit. Dan Cope's also there, but going back there's going to be potentially 3 wide, potentially going into Dunlop, potentially with Lee Fitzey trying to push on, potentially take another victory. God Gift John there trying to hold off from Adam Morgan, potentially the pink machine trying to push and push and push. Potentially Lee Fitzey's trying to get away from God Gift John. Panos is trying to get Lee to make a mistake going into Panasonic. It's looking like Panos has that momentum, but it is looking likely Lee Fitzey at the moment from God Gift John potentially having a bit of a ding-dong battle as well. Adam Morgan also trying to differentiate. God Gift John actually gets into the lead of the race, followed by Lee Fitzey. Lee Fitzey drops back into second, but that is obviously going to be God Gift John's chance because Timmy now has dropped out of the race. Adam Morgan, they were nearly made it 3 wide into turn number 1 there. Adam Morgan potentially tucking in behind Lee Fitzey at the moment, potentially trying to push on. You can just see in the background Brian Ross potentially pushing on. It is going to be very much interesting. Lee Fitzey also has a bit of has that moment with Adam Morgan behind him, and it is going to be very close and probably personal. It will be very interesting to see exactly what happens for this evening. God Gift John potentially has eked out that advantage from Lee Fitzey now as Adam Morgan potentially tries to chase him down, potentially with that gap there, potentially going to be very much interesting. You got Dean Atkinson behind, followed by Brian Ross and Ismail with a 1 second penalty at the moment, and Dan Cope potentially pushing on, potentially as we see Lee Fitzey and Adam Morgan potentially battle for second place at the moment in this race. It's potentially going to be very interesting with 2 laps to go. It is going to be probably close and personal. Panos is potentially now going to have this race sewn up, potentially bar a mistake, but it is looking likely Lee Fitzey is trying to get a gap from Adam Morgan, but at the moment it is looking likely Adam Morgan has that length. You can just see Adam Morgan, that pink Porsche Cayman, now heading into turn number 1. Is he going to take second from Lee Fitzey, or is Lee Fitzey going to brake really late and potentially defend? No, Adam Morgan now gets second place from Lee Fitzey, which is an absolute astonishing move. He had it sewn up way down the straight before he even got to turn number 1, but it's looking likely Lee Fitzey is going to be putting him back under threat. Dean Atkinson in 4th, followed by Brian Ross and followed by Ismail Memory and of course Dan Cope, but it is looking likely at the moment Adam Morgan potentially holding off from Lee Fitzey, trying to defend for his life, potentially wants to push on and potentially push away. It is going to be very close. It could be very personal. It could be one of the best battles we've seen from these two this season, potentially all or nothing from when it was at Catalunya to now here at Fuji, with potentially a lap with 2 laps to go. It will be potentially close but it is going to be very interesting going into the next curve here. You've obviously got Lee Fitzy trying to put his countryman Adam Morgan under a lot of threat, but at the moment it is looking likely the gaps are considerably. This is probably the only battle we've got, Lee Fitzy and Adam Morgan at the moment. But obviously going down to start the penultimate lap of the race, it is going to be very close. God Gift John already has that advantage. Potentially has he got one hand on the trophy, or has Timmy done enough? But we will see as Lee Fitzy tries to get up to the back of Adam Morgan going down the straight. Is he going to try and do exactly what Adam did to him a lap ago? No, he isn't, because Adam's pushing on, potentially trying to push away. As God Gift John has that battle still in his sights. Brian Ross dropped back from Dean Atkinson, potentially 5.5, bit of a 5 attempt from Dean Atkinson. Ismail Nemri in 6th, having a bit of a lonely time there in 6th place, with Dan Cope in 7th place. But at the moment Adam Morgan and Lee Fitzy potentially going into the Waycross hairpin for the penultimate time, trying to push away and trying to eke out that advantage, trying to catch up to God Gift John for first place at the moment. But potentially it is going to be very interesting, as we do have potentially Lee Fitzy there with trying to put Adam Morgan under threat in 2nd place. Dean Atkinson runs a bit wide out of Dunlop potentially, but obviously you've got Adam Morgan doing a stellar job trying to literally fend off Lee Fitzy for 2nd place, going into Panasonic for the penultimate time. It is going to be very close and probably personal going down to that long straight here at Fuji. Lee runs a bit wide, but he's caught up to the back of Adam Morgan slightly. Dean Atkinson in 4th, slowly but surely. Brian Ross in 5th. Ismail with a penalty. Sadly not been a good evening for Ismail so far, but does that mean Dan Cope's going to catch him? But at the moment, going to this battle on the final lap of the race, going into turn number 1, Adam Morgan's trying to defend like mad from Lee Fitzy. Lee Fitzy's also all over the back of him, potentially going to be pushing on. Lee Fitzy has a bit of a move, but Adam Morgan's going to probably have the inside for this Coca-Cola turn. He does, he almost has Lee Fitzy onto the runoff area there, but potentially he's going to be pushing on. Lee Fitzy's going to try and make a move towards the Waycross hairpin. Is he going to get it into the Waycross hairpin, or is Adam Morgan going to defend like mad? We shall see. Lee Fitzy there potentially has Adam Morgan in his sights. Potentially it is going to be a bit of a close battle. It looks like that Lee Fitzy there has obviously had a bit of a battle. Dan Cope trying to chase down Ismail Nemri, but Adam Morgan at the moment potentially going to be very much trying to push away from Lee Fitzy at the moment. It's looking likely Panos is going to take another victory in the Porsche Caymans this season. Potentially it will be a very interesting battle going into the last round at the Nürburgring as of next week. But it is looking likely at the moment God Gift John will take another victory. It is looking likely that with Timmy not scoring in this race, it could bring the championship down to the wire. But at the moment God Gift John takes